All right, guys, welcome to Ignite session 11. Follow up with leads. So, how have you guys been since the last session? Yeah, I was supposed to teach on Thursday, but I just got sick. I'm sorry about that. You got sick too? Well, okay. Yeah, hope you're doing better now, I guess, huh?
Yeah.
That's good. So today's session, follow up with leads. An important session in managing our database and in getting business to make more money and grow our real estate business, okay? Again, as usual, we're going to look at where we are now, where we were before, and where we're going in the Ignite framework, the 4 segments. We already finished the 4 classes related to becoming a real estate expert. We know all what we need to know in order to become real estate experts. And we got the 5 classes of lead generation. We know all what we need to know about lead generating and growing our database and capturing the leads from open houses, social media, or different other resources in lead generation. And we started the 3rd segment, lead follow-up. And in the lead follow-up, last session we had keep every lead, and today we're going to do follow-up with leads. And then we have 2 more classes before we jump into the 4th segment, which is the real work in real estate that you do in the field. You know, when the buyer, when the seller, working with buyers and sellers, which is under the segment of transaction. So let's start by a question I wanted to bring on first in the slide. What is lead follow-up from your point of view?
After you've met someone, like the second contact
Okay.
with them, second conversation you have with them.
Yeah, it will be, that's a good way to put it. It's a second conversation with the lead that you have on a different day. Not on, yeah, exactly. The second conversation on a different day. If we want to put it in a more scientific way, in sentence, we're going to say connecting with our leads to convert them either to a contact or a transaction. Okay, because we all know the difference between the lead and contact. We discussed that in many classes before. Leads is just a one-way conversation, and there is still no relationship between you and that leads. So you're still trying to establish a relationship. Contact is there is a relationship established, and there is 2-way conversations going on, whether through texts, emails, or phone calls. So you already have a relationship where you can call that person. So what you're trying to do right now is connect in order to convert that lead into that contact where there's a relationship, and eventually convert into a transaction. Okay? So why do we follow up? And I just answered part of it if you were paying attention. What is follow-up? It was part of my answer that why do we follow up? Yeah, okay. To convert. The key word here is convert that I want you to know. The key words that we need to know is convert. To convert leads to contact, and we already know what's the difference between leads and contact, and to convert contacts to a transaction. Okay? Once we have a contact now, we're going to try to nurture that relationship in order to become a transaction, whether signing a listing agreement with a seller or a buyer agreement with a buyer. Another way is also to generate leads. We follow up because we may generate leads. That person himself may not buy or sell with us, but he may refer to us someone who does. That's why we follow up. Now let's look at today's agenda. We're going to learn lead conversion, how to convert a lead to an appointment, improve your conversion rates, and then recaps and ahas. So we notice today's lesson, which is follow up with leads, is all revolving around a keyword here, conversion. So that's why I started I wanted to know what you know about follow-up and how it feeds into the conversion, because they jumped into the conversion right away. So, let's learn about lead conversion. The effort you give to converting leads must match the effort you give to generating them. That's from Gary Keller's book, not $1 Million Real Estate Agent, not the one thing, not $1 Million Investment, but Shifts. That's another book. He has it, which is a national seller as well. So the question I have is, why do the effort we do to convert leads must match the effort we do in generating them? I mean, we generate leads, we do a lot of efforts in that, we time block and we do that every day, but why do we have to do the same effort? Yeah. Don't be shy to say if you have something, a thought you want to say, share.
I mean, once you generate leads but you can't convert them, it wouldn't matter. So I guess you have to put the same amount of effort in both of them.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, when we generate leads, we put them in our database, right? That's how a good real estate agent works. Every time we generate a lead, we feed it into our database and we maintain that database. But if it just sits in the database, it's not going to give us any money. Okay? It's just like you have a membership to a gym, but you're not using that membership to build your body. You know, so the idea of all the people in our database is to make money. We're in the business of making money. How do we make money? Yeah, that we're going to utilize the people in our database, but we need to convert them. So we must make equal efforts to convert the people that we have. Okay? There is a lead conversion process, and it's also called a lead conversion model. This is a model we will learn today. Consistently getting every possible appointment from the leads you generate isn't complicated, but it does require preparation, practice, and purposeful action. So, as we mentioned before in the lead generation classes, before we call a leads, we got to prepare. We got to see how we're going to be calling that lead and talking to them. We got to, for example, for friends on social media, see if there's any kind of event that happened in the last few weeks that you would bring up. Because you're not going to call up that lead and say, or contact and say, hey, do you want to buy or sell? You're trying to catch up. How is your family? I saw that your son had a nice birthday last week. Happy birthday to him. Did you get him something nice? Stuff like that. Start with it. How is your work? You know, stuff like that. And then it will ultimately lead into the conversation about real estate. That's the preparation part. You practice your scripts. You practice handling objections if you need to be, because one of the objections you need to practice, for example, is, let's say the conversation is about he wants to buy, but interest rates are too high. That's an objection. You gotta be able to handle that objection and telling him, you know what? Interest rates are high, but you know what? Buyers are not that much in the market now. As soon as interest rates start declining, it will be a flood of buyers. Competition will be very hot and it will be a problem. That's practice. And purposeful action. Do what you do in trying to convert your contacts or leads, but do it with a purposeful action. Remember how we had in the 6 Personal Perspective in Ignite 1, move from E to P, move from entrepreneurial to purposeful. Entrepreneurial means you're doing a thing for the sake of doing it because you're going to get your salary at the end of the month. This is not how it works in real estate. You got to do it with a purposeful action. You got to be purposeful. I want to convert that person, that contact, into a transaction by making him, first of all, come to an appointment if it's a lead. If it's a contact, I want to convert him to a transaction. I want to open escrow with him. You know, stuff like that. So the lead conversion model or the lead conversion process starts by capturing leads, and then we connect with those leads in order to, convert them to contacts. And then after we connect with them, as we're connecting, we either close in order, you know what the close is here for? What do you think the close is referring to? Close of escrow or close of something else? In this process, what do you think? And it's okay if you, because it's kind of, but I'm not going to say the word, because if I say, you're going to answer. You're always very smart when I say something. Huh? What do you think the close here refers to? You always, because as a real estate agent, we're always closing to do, 3 things, okay?
Close like the relationship, like
Clo-
solidify the relationship.
Well, we're trying to close for an appointment. Close to get an appointment. We're going to see that more in session 14 and 15, when the buyer and when the seller. We're always trying to close an appointment. If it's a seller, we're always trying to close to get a listing appointment with the seller. A buyer, we're always trying to close to get him to come to the office to give him a buyer consultation, an appointment. Other things we close about, of course, is closing, and the escrow. Yeah, that's one thing, and yeah, but basically that's what we're trying to close here.
To get an appointment for like a listing or buyer presentation?
Yes, that's the main close we're trying to do here. Because once that person is ready, after we've been nurturing that relationship and cultivating that relationship, that person eventually will become whatever he is a buyer or seller, as you tagged him, or whatever his needs may arise. That person, you need to close. If he's a seller, let's meet up. I want to give you my listing presentation. When can we meet? Buyer, come to my office tomorrow at 4 or Thursday at 5, and I want to give you a buyer consultation. And then you close on making him sign the buyer agreement. That's a very important close. Okay? So after lead generation, lead conversion is the most business critical activity you will have. Okay? After lead generation, the lead conversion. So we need to convert a lead to an appointment, and an appointment to a transaction. That's the ultimate goal. We're going to go to the process in detail right now, the 4 steps here. And as we notice in the process, it goes capture, connect, and then there's a dotted line either going to cultivate or going to close. Do you know why that is? Why?
Because sometimes, like from the second connection, you can go straight to closing.
Very good, yes.
Some more.
That's right, exactly. Sometimes you talk to people as you're following up, they're ready to sign the listing agreement, to make the appointment with you and sign the listing agreement or sign the buyer agreement. Sometimes they need more time. If they need more time, that's when it goes to cultivate. So cultivate in this case will be number 3 instead of number 4. You keep cultivating that relationship, nurturing that relationship until you're ready to go to the close after that. So it depends what parts, if you're ready or not, and you'll be able to evaluate as you're following up with the client. That's why we do the follow-up. Now, we had this in the last session. There's a possible business, probable business, and profitable business. Do you guys remember what the difference was? No, it's okay. Possible business is any business in front of you. It's possible, but it's not probable. Like what? Like for example, I can, Dan's neighbor could be a possible business for me. And it's a possible business for him.
So who's probable for him?
Well, if he's making good contact with his neighbor, if he's engaging in interacting with his neighbor, yeah, he has more probability. So basically, the difference between possible and probable is you already made an interaction or an engagement with that possible business. If I made the engagement with Dan's neighbor and not Dan, I have the probable business, not Dan, even though he's just his next door neighbor. But it's who's the person who made the engagement, made the interaction, is starting the follow-up, added him to his database. That's the difference. So possible business is possible business for everybody, but the probable is the one who has the interaction with that leads. Okay? And of course, a profitable business is the business that you convert. So a probable business, okay, so I'm interacting with Dan's neighbor, but will I get him to sign the listing agreement and make him sell his house? That's when it's a profitable business for me. And I'm just showing, and I had to use the example of Dan's neighbor, just to show you the importance of getting engaged. Because just because it's Dan's neighbor, it doesn't mean he's automatically going to go to Dan. Because if Dan is not following up, he's not going to get him. Yeah.
Same thing with family.
Yes, that's true. That is exactly true. And friends. Ahas or questions? Any ahas or questions? Okay. Now let's see how to convert a lead to an appointment. So that means we're going to start going the lead conversion model or lead conversion process. We're going to take the first step, capture. We already, of course, went into capture in detail when we started the lead generation in class 5. And we even had it in the last class too when we said capture every lead. But capturing is defined as collecting the minimum amount of valid contact information of a potential buyer or seller. And the minimum contact information is, does anybody know what it is? The minimum contact information you would collect.
Name, phone number, email.
Yeah, name, phone number, and email. That's the minimum contact, you know. So what I want to ask you is, what are methods of lead capturing that you guys are using right now? Or know how to use but haven't used it yet? I'm not going to say using it. Maybe you're not yet, didn't get your feet wet, but what are type of, or methods that you're aware of you can capture leads with?
I know you could capture leads with open houses because you have the sign-in sheets.
Yep, we even have a special class for it. Yep, yeah, exactly, good.
So that's a way. I still haven't really found any other good ways, especially when you're out in public. It's hard. It's easier to give someone your card than to ask for their information. But 9 times out of 10, or not even 9 times out of 10, you won't receive like a text saying like, hey, this is my information. So
Yes, I agree.
I have been having issues with capturing because I've had many conversations with people and it ends with me handing them my card, but then it ends there.
Yes, I know what you mean. Yes, I know. That's why when someone, let's say you meet somebody, he's interested in selling or buying in the near future, it's not enough you give the business card. Try to get his or her contact information. It's very important because most likely he's going to get your card, he's going to misplace it, and he's going to forget all about you. But when you get his information, you have a system in place that you're trained on where you're going to follow up with him. So don't, rely on you giving a business card. This usually he's going to lose it. I get a lot of business cards from many people. I lose it,
Yeah.
And then I wonder, where did I keep that? So it's always better when you collect the information, okay? And of course there's mailers and flyers, and when you have a listing there's for sale signs. But the most effective way is, of course, the sign-in sheet, but sometimes even when buyers walk in open houses, they put false information because they don't want to be bothered, because they know how it goes. Once they put their name, because they've been into many open houses, once they put their name somewhere, they always get calls and texts, so they don't want to be bothered. So in order to the hassle, they just put fake things, One way around this, so that you know, is, let's say he puts his phone number in front of you. Oh, let me give you a call to make sure I put it in correct, because I'm not sure if that's an 8 or a 6. And then you ring, and if it rings on his phone, then that means it's his number. If not, it'll make him look bad, So, okay. Are you currently capturing leads? So that's good. But you're using the information like the name, the cell phone, and the email, and etc. Good. And you're categorizing your database?
Yes, so I did go in, since the last class, I did go into my database and add a lot more tabs because I realized how important this is.
Yeah, very good. That's good. Yeah.
Especially, I'm still learning how to use
Mm.
like the email blasts through command.
Uh.
So I'm still learning how to do that, but when I do, I want it to be easier for me to be able to send all the emails just at once, not have to like.
Yeah.
So
I'm going to make a class on itself on commands at some point, maybe in a couple of weeks or something.
that would be great.
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah, so I'm going to talk to John about it, yeah. So that's for the first step in the process of lead conversion, or the first step in the lead conversion model, capture. Now let's go to conversation frameworks, and the first step under capture also. So as we're capturing the leads, so these are conversations we can be using, because sometimes when you tell, may I have your cell phone number? When you tell a man or a woman, may I have your cell phone number? They will probably push back. Oh, you're still going to start calling me? Or email. Oh, I'm going to get junk email. So here's what you should do when it comes, for example, to getting the cell phone number. First of all, you're going to have a conversation, and then you're going to understand what the needs are. Oh, I'm looking for a single family home, 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, 1,500 square feet, preferably in a good school district in the city of XYZ. So no problem, I can help you find and send you a list of that. If I were to need to contact you, what number would that be? That's what you would bring. If I found exactly what you're looking for, how would I contact you? This is better than saying, may I have your cell phone number? Okay? If I found out that information you are wanting, how would I get it to you? Most likely, they're just going to give you the email. And if they're saying they're going to give you the email, can you text me your email? It will be easier for me to. And then in this case, you'll be getting his cell phone as well, or his cell phone as well. So this is,
That's very smart.
yeah. So this is conversation frameworks you can be using or utilizing in order to get the information, because some people push back, oh, you want my cell phone right away? This is, no, I don't want to be bothered. But when the person feels you're going to give valuable information or you're going to add value, they will give it. Second step, connects. Connection best practices. Embed your value proposition in the conversation. And we learned about the value proposition in class 4. Define your value. So that's basically, for those of you who missed class 4 in Ignite, the reason why a buyer or seller would choose working with you as a real estate agent instead of another real estate agent. What value do you have to add other than other realtors? What is the benefit you're going to offer to your clients? And as we mentioned, it has to show value, it has to be clear and concise, nothing lengthy, but to the point, and it would show what is your strength and value. Role play and practice conversations. Always when you practice conversations, because sometimes when you're talking with a client for the first time, you tend to be shaky if it's someone you don't know. You feel that you're nervous. What if he discovers that I'm still learning? What am I going to do? Your thoughts in your head, But when you practice a lot, it will be nothing. You could just say as if you're doing it for 20 years. Just a matter of practice. Know the outcome you want from a conversation before starting. Use questions to lead the conversations. Always use questions. And know the outcome what you want. You want to find out, for example, if he wants to buy or sell. If he wants to buy, when does he want to buy? Is it like in 6 months, 9 months? Okay, so he wants to buy in 6 months. What is his motivation? Is his lease expiring? Did he just discover that home ownership is a better investment decision? So try to find out more by that, and be taking notes. Of course, if it's a casual conversation that just started, don't do it on the spot unless we're doing it over the phone, that's better. But if it's not, just try to remember as much as you can, because if he will think a casual conversation suddenly is turning into a business that he doesn't probably want to give right now. Okay? Here are 6 connection questions that you could use, that these are general in general. Who are they? What do they want or need to do? Do they want to buy or sell? Where do they want or need to do it? What city are they thinking of selling? What city are they thinking of buying? Why do they want to, need, or do it? Why are they thinking of selling? So if someone sells, don't just get excited. Okay, he wants to sell. We want to find out the motivation, why that person wants to sell. Or why does he want to buy? Okay? Is it a job relocation? What is it exactly? When do they need or want to do it? Time is of the essence as well. Do they need to do it like in 2 months? Do they need to do it in 6 months? What if they say, for example, in 6 months, your next question should be, so what's happening in 6 months? Oh, I'm going to get my new job in the new location, so and so. For example, my lease expires, so, whatever. So that's when you know when, these are the questions you should dig in with, And how do they plan to do it? So seller might tell you, oh, I'm going to sell it on my own. He might tell you that. So be prepared to tell him, something like that. If he wants to sell it on his own, well, do you know that there's a lot of disclosures involved in a transaction, and there's a lot of liability lawsuits that are initiated by buyers who buy homes because the seller didn't disclose properly? You really need someone who understands all that stuff, and at the same time who's a good negotiator to get you the best possible price. So all these questions you need to utilize. Any questions so far about those questions? Okay. Cultivate. Notice here, even though it's written as number 4 in the model, but they brought it here as number 3 because that's what should have belonged, because most likely you're going to cultivate first, but there are some instances where you're going to jump from connect to close right away. But they're assuming here that cultivate is step number 3. You can't know or predict when they will come to a decision, but if you're reconnecting with them in a systematic way, you'll have a great chance of being there when they do. That's when you'll be able to close for an appointment. So there's no way of predicting when someone is going to decide to sell or buy, unless they tell you, of course. Yeah. But if you're constantly reconnecting in a systematic way, okay, you're always in their way, so most likely you're going to be able to close for an appointment, because if you're always like every quarter calling them on the phone, thinking of selling, thinking of buying, whatever, yeah, actually I'm going to plan right now. Close now for an appointment as soon as you hear that. But if you're calling once every year, or if you're not putting them on a... You remember how the 2 systems we learned, or the 3 systems we learned in the last class? 19 to connect, 36 to convert. These are systems. So we can use that. So just be reconnecting always, okay? Close. When asking for the appointments, as I mentioned, when we say close, you're trying to ask for the appointments and get him to come to your appointment, or go to them if it was a listing presentation. Which format do you think is most effective? Text message, email, phone call, or in person? When asking for the appointment, what is the strongest and most effective way out of those?
You want to say in person?
Yes, in person. That's right, Dan. In person is the strongest way, because when you're in front of somebody, and nice people will want to turn you down. It's called emotional proximity. They will just feel, okay, that's fine, I'll meet with you. The only reason they would turn you down is if they have another agent, or if they think you're not knowledgeable enough, or they can't trust you. Okay? They feel something is wrong. But you are knowledgeable based on the trainings you had. You are trustworthy. So the only challenge you have is if he has another agent or not. And sometimes they may have another agent, but they want to see what you have to say. Maybe you have better value proposition. Okay?
Is it, if someone tells you, like, you meet someone and I'm like, hey, do you have an agent, are you working with an agent? And they say no, but, or they say, sort of, is it okay to ask who the agent is? Or,
Yeah, it's always okay to ask for the agent. It's a normal question because I know most of the agents around here. So what's her or his name?
because
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
sometimes they're like, well, I know of an agent, or I might be working in. Like, I get like weird answers sometimes about working with agents, and I know it's because they don't want me to like,
Yeah. In the beginning of my real estate career, I always used to ask that in open houses in my first year, But I found the most effective thing is just go to the point. Let's say if they're in the listing that I'm holding an open house in, and you tell them, so are you interested in the home? Would you like it? Yeah, it's nice. Can I help you put an offer together? Let's say they might say, most likely they're going to say, but no, that's not the house we're looking for. I can help you find another house. What house can if you let me know the criteria you're looking for, I can help you out. That's when they can tell you they're already working with an agent or not. Because if they're already working with an agent, let's try Veronia. She looks, knowledgeable. I might try her. In this case, you don't even know if that person is working with an agent or not. If they're working with their agent and they're, attached, they're going to tell you up front, I'm working with somebody. Then that's okay. But just jump to the chase, because some people tend to lie. Oh, I'm working with an agent because they don't want to be bothered. But when you tell them, I can help you find the house and can you let me know what you're looking for? They might tell you and you might get the business. And at the same time, you don't know that he's working with an agent or not. So it's not like, but if in the beginning, if he said he's working with an agent, just leave it as is, okay? So the strongest methods or the most effective methods to ask for an appointment is in person. Second strongest is phone call. Yes, exactly. Phone call is the second strongest because they can hear your voice. Another big quote from Gary Keller in his book Shifts. In the end, that would answer some questions for you. What if I get rejected and stuff like that? In the end, if they can meet and have a good enough reason to meet, they will meet. And if they don't, they won't. And that's okay. You really don't care what their answer ultimately is, because you're not getting people to do anything they don't want to do. You're just going to ask and respond until they agree that meeting with you makes sense. Or it doesn't. Either way, you both win. So even when you get rejected about people coming to your appointments, it's okay. You're trying to find someone who's willing to work with you, who wants to work with you. So it really doesn't matter. I once went to a listing presentation with Steve Hall. He's the top producer here and been in business for 35 years. Amazing guy, the best. And then for some reason we didn't get the listing, and he said something I always remember now. He said, I want to work with people who want to work with me. That's a big quote. I love that. I want to work with people who want to work with me. So I thought, yeah, that's right. It doesn't matter if this person, doesn't want to work. As long people want to work with me, there's been many, but I just haven't found them yet. How's our questions? Improve your conversion rate. So, in order to improve your conversion rate, we learn models and steps and actions to convert a lead to an appointment into a transaction. I want to explain to you first what a conversion rate is, but does anybody know before I explain what it is?
Like the amount of people you get into your database, like that rate converted of like who actually like became your client.
Let me explain it to you, okay? Well, for this conversion rate, what they're measuring here, at that part is converting, the lead to an appointment here, okay? So what does that mean? Let's say you talk to 10 leads, okay? But you succeeded in making 8 appointments out of those 10 leads. So that means your conversion rate is 80%. The conversion rate for converting to appointments. Of course, there's other conversion rate for a client that's converted into a transaction. That's a different thing, but that's not what we're talking about right now. So, how do we improve that conversion rate? Let's say the conversion rate of every 10 people, I only get like 3, so that's 30% that's weak. What's the reason for that? Every time I ask for an appointment, I just don't get it. So we need to find out. One of the ways we need to find out is we need to keep our numbers. Like, for example, if you contacted 10 leads and you asked them for an appointment, only 3 responded, so mention that. And if you remember, in the daily success system that we have every day, I'm going to show it to you in the end of the class. It's always with us, It's something out of 10, something out of 10, a number blank out of 10. That's what we need to fill out to see the conversion rate. So you need to know those numbers. So when we see the numbers and you talk to your mentor, for example, and you ask him what's going on, he's going to dig deep and find out. Is it a matter of will or skill? Maybe you're not doing the work, or maybe you don't have enough skill. Okay? So, now, to improve your conversion rate, first, number 1, we need to time block. We need to time block, as we know, for lead generation. And lead generation has many things under it. First, we lead generate. We also need to time block for follow-up. Follow-up is because this is an attempt from us to convert what we have right now into an appointment or a transaction. Okay? Number 2, use systems and conversations. Always be having conversations. Whether you're door knocking, cold calling, or in a casual backyard barbecue with someone you don't know. Always have conversations. Systems we discussed last time, like 19 to connect. When you have a lead, put them on a touch system of 19 to connect. Remember those 19 to connect? And if they are already a contact, 36 to convert. 36 touches to convert. All right? Number 3, connect with your whole database. Always connect with your whole database. Don't just pick and choose. You have to do it in a systematic way. Number 4, prioritize qualified leads. Prioritize qualified leads. We're going to have a session, not the coming session, the one after that, which is going to be class 13, about qualifying buyers and sellers. But to summarize quickly, prioritize qualified leads. First of all, we make sure the leads that we're following up with is really qualified. What if you qualified a buyer and he's not ready to buy till a year because he just started a job and he only has 1 year of work experience history and he needs 2-year work history. So there's no way he's going to get a loan. So he's not a priority right now. I'll follow up with him more strongly 9 months from now when he's ready. Well, 2 years have passed by. That's when you're prioritizing, And he has to be qualified, so he's not currently qualified to buy a house. It's like that. Any questions so far? So to recap the lead conversion model that we've been through, capture the appropriate information to get a hold of the leads. We may make sure we got the appropriate information we need to follow up, including any side notes if that person has a family, has a dog, has special hobbies, even what kind of job he is. You know, if all this information, if we can gather, is good for us in order when we follow up, we can have a point to start a conversation. Hi, how are you? Hi. Hi. Hello, hi. Go on in. It's okay. We were talking about lead conversion. Yeah, this is class 11 of Ignite. We're almost done in this class, but anyway, I'll help you. You're still going to studying for real estate, right? Yeah, okay. All right. Okay. Number 2, connect to assess their needs and establish a relationship. So we always, when we're connecting and we're following up, we're trying to assess their needs, okay? We want to see what is their needs, and we want to also lay a foundation for a stronger relationship. And that's what we're going to be discussing in the next class, strengthening the relationship. Because if we have a strong relationship with our database, when they want to make a transaction, when they want to sell or buy, who are they going to call? Who's someone they have a strong relationship with. So that's why we always want to continuously connect. So we need to think of what good touch campaign we want to follow. If we have special notes from the capture, as I mentioned, let's say he's a golf lover. Well, there's a golf tournament that's going to be happening in the Palos Verdes golf course in the coming July. Are you going to be there? And you send him this email. He'll be, oh yeah, he remembers I'm in the golf. There's something like that. Okay? So the goal is to build a relationship, okay? Cultivate the relationship. We will do that through the 2 systems we learned, as I mentioned, 19 touches to connect and 36 touches to convert. We use those systems. We will utilize them. Cultivation in the step model is one of the steps that agents find challenging or they struggle with. Why do you think cultivation is, agents struggle with that? Why do you think, from your point of view? Huh? I'm sorry? Yeah, that's one of them. Yeah. What do you think there? Cultivates, one of the steps of the lead conversion model, is one of the steps agents, struggle with. Why is that?
Follow-up process. I think it's for them too much work.
Yeah, they don't have the right systems in place to follow up, And when they don't have the right systems, they will forget.
So what kind of systems are you talking about? Do you have reminders on your phone too?
Like the 19 touches to connect, for example. There's a smart plan on commands that you'll be using. By the way, if what I'm saying is overwhelming, don't worry. We're going to take it step by step. The Ignite will start again next month. So don't worry. You just came in the middle on the 11th class, so it's going to be too much information, but I'll try to, starting from next class, remind you, pinpoint where everything is, okay? But you're learning anyway, so it's okay. So the 19, for example, touches to connect is a system that you can use on Smart Planning Command, KW command, okay? And this is automatically set up, okay? But you're going to set it up with the people based on the tags that I told you to make. Remember, everybody's tagged. If it's a seller, we want to tag sellers together, okay? If it's buyers, we want to buyers together. renters, first-time home buyers, whatever. And then you would sub-tag people like people, golf lovers, dog lovers, whatever, you know, based on the other categories that you have. So to tell them of special events relating to that, you know. Yeah, and that's how you would put them in the system to follow up. And the good thing is Command is offered to KW agents for free. That's the benefit of working with Keller Williams. Yeah. It's a good advantage. Just thinking if there's anything else I want to add to Cultivate, but that's mainly it for Cultivate. So it's just they don't have the right systems in place. And then number 4, close by asking for the appointments. You always want to be closing on that. I don't know if you see the show Everybody Loves Raymond. I see it. There's this episode where his daughter went to Peggy's house where they were selling cookies, and then he told them, "You remember ABC?" So what was ABC? You know, does everybody remember? Raymond said something funny. I don't remember, but the ABC was standing for always be closing. That's what Peggy was trying to teach the kids to sell cookies. Always be closing. And by the way, closing here is referring to closing for the appointment. We're trying to get the appointment, not the closing escrow. This is something else. Okay. Closing to the appointments. That's your objective. So when you do find someone who's interested, shows interest in buying or selling, that's what you're trying to do. And that's the lead conversion model. Ahas or questions, guys? Anything?
I got an idea how to
Yeah.
start tagging all my contacts now.
Oh, that's what you've been doing. Oh, that's good. I thought you were going to come. Yeah, remind me. I don't know if.
I'll take notes.
Yeah. So share the idea if you want. Go ahead.
I mean,
Unless it's something that's.
I mean, my contacts, I have a lot of dancers, so I'm gonna.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that's gonna be my sub tags.
Uh-huh.
And then from then on, I'm gonna try to find out which one's a seller, which one's a buyer in that category.
Very good.
All of them are renting, so I'm gonna try to tag them all.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's right. There you go. Yeah. Exactly. And since you brought up that many of them are renters, try to find out in a casual conversation, when does each lease expire? That would be a big deal. So let's say, so when does your lease expire? Oh, it expires, I don't know, in 6 months. Yeah. So if you find out when the lease expires, 2 months ahead, have you ever thought about buying instead of renewing? Because most likely they're going to raise the lease, and when you're paying lease, you're actually paying the landlord's mortgage, when you can be paying your own. Just for like an extra $1,000 more, you'll be owning your own home, something like that. So it's good that you're creative in thinking of ways out of the box of, that's very good. That's very good. Yeah. So I'm sorry, I didn't get your name again. What's your name? Nayeri? Nayeri, okay. So when is your exam?
Well, it's my first time.
Oh, okay.
With John first, and then set the
Oh, okay.
score and the Cape Rep, and
Any questions about real estate in general?
Well, at the moment.
No. Okay. Any questions from Zoom about real estate, about today's class, or about your lead follow-up process so far? Okay, I would appreciate if you guys would scan the QR codes and, as usual, give me the review. And I'll type my name in the chat because I know my name is hard to spell.